It is 6 o'clock, and I will call the December 9th, 2025 meeting of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors to order. We do have a quorum with all members present. Tonight we have Pastor Roger Krieger from the Speedwell Pentecostal Holiness Church to provide the invocation. If you would, please stand and remain standing for the pledge.
I want to thank you, Board of Supervisors, for allowing us once again to come. I know it was a fill-in, but thank you much. The little bag of goodies there, just as a thank you for your service you might enjoy throughout the evening. I know we have a lot of concerned citizens tonight, but I'm going to pray for them and you tonight, as I know it'll be a very lengthy meeting perhaps. But we do appreciate you. Let's pray. Father God, we truly are grateful and thankful unto you for your many, many blessings upon us. I do thank you for this board of leadership before us tonight, because I know, Lord, that all leadership or everything falls and rises upon leadership, and we thank you, Lord, for them. We pray that you'll give them wisdom and help them in all that they do tonight, dear Father, that they can lead this meeting in a way that will truly bring success to the county. Bless all those who are concerned tonight. Help them to be mindful and in a proper way tonight as they discuss their ideas and thoughts. So, Father, bless the meeting, and we promise we'll praise you for it. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize. We got a new system. We're still trying to figure it out. Tonight we've got a couple resolutions to hand out, and the first one is honoring Emma Faulkner for her state championship in girls cross country. Come on up, Emma. And folks, I know y'all are proud, and later on when we get into citizens' time, please don't clap, because we've got a new audio system and it is very hot and it picks up everything. They had to test it on me, so I understand, but just poor Allison has to go back and listen to it on headphones and has to, but anyway, this is your third state championship, and this one is very special because you will never get one signed by me again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I have signed all three of yours. So in 10 years, put it on eBay, So Resolution 2025-37, honoring Emma Faulkner of the George Wythe High School Girls Cross Country Team. Whereas George Wythe High School junior Emma Faulkner completed an outstanding 2025 cross-country season, and whereas Emma qualified for and competed in the 2025 Virginia High School League State cross-country meet at Green Hill Park in Salem, Virginia on November the 8th, 2025, and whereas the state meet included 96 individual competitors, and whereas Emma won the 2025 Class 1 State Championship cross-country title with a time of 18:37, outracing the closest competitor by more than 50 seconds. And whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors wishes to recognize Emma Faulkner for her exemplary sportsmanship, athletic ability, and determination. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby presents this resolution to Emma Faulkner in recognition of her 2025 cross-country state championship, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be incorporated into the official minutes of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors, adopted this 9th day of December 2025, signed Brian W. Vaught, Chair. And with that, I will entertain a motion to approve 2025-37.
So moved.
Have a motion by Ms. Lawson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Terry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. Now listen, next year, there's gonna be somebody else that gives this to you. And what I want you to do is say, you're not as cool as that last guy.
Don't do it.
So, but honestly, you're a superstar.
Thank
you. Thank you. So the next resolution we have is to honor Wythe County Sheriff's Deputies Christopher Reeves and Lucas Brewer and State Trooper Bree Mullins. And this is kind of an odd one. I happened upon in my day job some body cam video of a big fire, multiple tractor and trailers, and the actions of these two deputies and Trooper Mullins. And I reached out to Mr. Hankins and I said, hey, I've never experienced this on my board, or since I've been on the board, but come look at this. I really think they done a good job. You know, there's things exploding and they're pulling people up over banks and they're packing wounds and applying tourniquets, and we would show the body cam video, but it's pretty graphic. So, Deputy Reeves, Deputy Brewer, Trooper Mullins, if you'll come up. And while Bree's walking up, I want to get it on the record, because her first sergeant's here. She had her hat on the whole time. You know, Class A uniform, so just put that in her fact file. Okay, Resolution 2025-38, honoring Wythe County Sheriff's Deputies Christopher L. Reeves, Lucas A. Brewer, and State Trooper Randy B. Mullins, and I did not know that was your first name. Whereas on Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025, Wythe County Sheriff's Deputies Christopher L. Reeves and Lucas A. Brewer, along with Virginia State Trooper Randy B. Mullins, risked their lives to rescue individuals trapped inside their wrecked vehicles. And whereas their swift and courageous actions, taken without regard for their own safety, directly resulted in saving multiple lives. And whereas their bravery reflects the highest standards of public service and brings great credit to the Wythe County Sheriff's Office and the Virginia State Police and the entire community. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors expresses its profound gratitude to Deputy Christopher Reeves, Deputy Lucas Brewer, and Trooper Randy Mullins for their heroic actions. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Deputy Reeves, Deputy Brewer, and Trooper Mullins in recognition of their extraordinary bravery. Adopted this 9th day of 2025, signed Brian W. Vaught, Chair, and I will entertain a motion to approve 2025-38.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Cook. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Congratulations. Randy?
Appreciate it.
Now, all you folks, if y'all want to exit, feel free. If you want to stay, I know one of you needs to go home and one of you are on duty, so. And folks, we got some seats opened up. Now, the next item on the agenda is citizens' time. I understand that several people have signed up, and several people have concerns. Before we get into citizens' time, we're going to address some of those concerns with the facts that we've been presented with. And I understand some of the concerns because when this project was first announced, I done the same thing that a lot of you did, is get on Google. And I read some of the horror stories, and I'm speaking for me. I don't know about the other board members. And I went through and this project was different, and it checked off a lot of the boxes. So Mr. Bear and Mr. Manley, I seen Mr. Manley, from the JIDA. So we're going to tell you what we're dealing with, and it may answer some of your questions. It may lead to some additional questions. But we're going to give it to you, and Mr. Manley will address this. In economic development, whether it's a whatever it is, we're hamstrung with certain requirements before we speak about it. It was released, and this is where we're at. So, Mr. Bear, I'll start with you and let you give a history of the project and where we're at.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Collins is going to bring up just a PowerPoint that will go here a little bit just to provide information about this project and where we are. The following is information has been provided to provide the citizens with the time frame information, expected results that the Joint Industrial Development Authority and Wythe County Board of Supervisors reviewed and considered in executing a performance agreement with Solus Arcs, Virginia, 1 LLC for their development in Progress Park. First is their location. The location, Progress Park, is established in 1999. It's been marketed for this type of development. In fact, it has been an AEP certified data center for over a decade. Data centers have been an active target for recruitment in Progress Park for over 15 years. In 2024, the JIDA began working with the developer for a potential data center in Progress Park. Based on the parameters of the project, the JIDA and the company worked towards a project that was then on the lots identified as 35 and 36 in the southeastern corner of the park in proximity to the AEP substation. The next page will show the location. And to the left is the ungraded Site 35. You see part of it was open grazing land. To the right is our industrial park. And this is in the bottom right-hand corner is the location for this. The next is the location of this. It's cutting off a little bit on your display, but basically there's a 1 mile radius from the center of the site. Basically, within that 1 mile, the only other existing users are industrial uses within that part of the park. So just to make certain everyone understood where this is located. At the bottom there it shows exit 77. I don't know if that's visible on there or not, but this is to the east of Wytheville in the industrial park. The next is the projected investment. The company with this project has a total projected investment of over $1 billion in Wythe County. That is a very large project, the largest project that we have seen. The local incentives for this project. Wythe County agreed to provide the ungraded property to the company. It's about a 99-acre site at no cost in exchange for the promised investment. The company would assume full cost of grading and preparing the site. Wythe County is working with VDOT to extend Kent's Lane approximately 300 feet. No other incentives were offered to this project other than the local enterprise zone incentives that are existence in Progress Park and other areas throughout the county. These incentives include waived building permit fees after the first 20,000 square feet and establish water rates from Wytheville based on tiered usage amounts and wastewater rates from Wythe County based on tiered usage amounts. The utilities for this project. This company worked directly with Appalachian Power to confirm the availability and cost structure for the electrical supply for this project. Wythe County is not involved in that. We do not negotiate that. We do not deal with that. And residents and other businesses do not subsidize the large electrical users. Water and wastewater. Water is provided in industrial park by the town of Wytheville. This project indicates it will be a closed-loop system with air-cooled chillers. The company now anticipates the use of approximately 2,000 gallons a day, which is equivalent to our local restaurants. The currently in Progress Park, Wytheville has a capacity of 1.5 million gallons a day of water available. For wastewater, the wastewater will be served by the Fort Chisholm Treatment Plant. Wythe County has adequate capabilities and capabilities there within the plant. As you can see, we have about a 1.25 million gallons per day capacity and currently treating 300,000 to 400,000. Should the company need to have any pre-treatment of their discharges, that would be a requirement for them. Do not have any indication that would be such, but currently Wythe County has 6 industries and commercial users that have to do pre-treatment of their wastewater discharge before it comes to our plant, and then we have to discharge meeting all capacity. There's no additional infrastructure cost to the localities providing these water and wastewater services. The water already runs adjacent to this park on the south and north of it, and the wastewater service is already available on the western edge of the boundary of this property. Environmental. Air monitoring. Any air monitoring requirements would be overseen by the Virginia DEQ. Groundwater withdrawal. The company has not indicated any plans of using any groundwater sources. Should they do so, it would require DEQ permits, but as mentioned, they're only looking at using an estimated 2,000 gallons a day. Groundwater discharge. The company has not indicated any plans of discharging to any ground or stream source, only to the wastewater treatment plants. Should they pursue any type of a direct discharge, that would require DEQ permits. And noise. This is located in Wythe County's industrial park. This is, the Progress Park does have covenants that restrict noise level to 65 decibels at 500 feet from the boundaries of the parcel. Revenue. As you can see on the attached, the JIDA worked with Mangum Economics out of Glen Allen in Virginia to do a study of what revenue a projected project like this. The estimated additional revenue, annual revenue, is over $10 million a year starting in 2028, assuming construction goes to schedule. To put that in perspective, currently in real estate revenue, Wythe County receives is estimating $14 million in annual revenue from real estate taxes this year. The personal property taxes are estimated at $7 million this year. So as you can see, this would be by far the individual largest taxpayer to Wythe County, and would go a long way towards what is currently a $118 million county budget. So in summary, what does this mean? Progress Park, established in 1999, has been developed and marketed over years for this type of development. It is near existing industrial users, not located near residential areas. It will provide a large influx of tax revenue for Wythe County without additional citizen burden and no additional infrastructure costs. The board understands that the large influx of revenue requires prudent planning for improved services and opportunities starting in the fiscal year 28 and 29. So what are some of those potential investments? These include, but in no way limited to, education, school construction and improvement projects. For example, a $20 million school project would end up with a 20-year debt service payment, ends up costing the county approximately $1.5 million a year. A $40 million project costs the county approximately $3 million per year. In perspective, a $1.5 million in debt service equates out to about a 6-cent real estate tax rate. A $3 million debt service calculates out to a 12-cent real estate tax rate. For reference purposes, Wythe County's tax rate is currently 51 cents. Not only school construction, this can address teachers, staff salaries, alternative programs, athletic field improvements, and help us with funding buses. Each new bus costs approximately $150,000 a year. Public safety. As most of you know, Wythe County has taken on emergency medical services on the eastern and western end of the county. This provides additional funding for that. Rescue vehicles alone cost over $400,000 per vehicle, and this allows us to help with the expansion of our program with buildings and personnel. This helps with funding with fire preparedness. Fire trucks cost between $500,000 and $1.5 million, and even more for ladder trucks and others in the process. This helps with fire buildings and training centers. This can also help with personnel. We currently have some paid part-time staff working at the Max Meadows Fire Department based on the volume. This can help with the sheriff's departments. Each vehicle with the sheriff's department costs around $50,000 to $60,000 when outfitted. This can help with body camera costs, body camera supply costs, body camera storage costs, and police supplies. Parks and recreations, we have already started some improvements at Ager Park. The proposal can help us do new and improved facilities at Ager Park and also around the county and help with additional programming. Community improvement projects can do additional water and wastewater service. Community service projects, workforce housing development, and currently Wythe County owns 14 acres on Pres Jackson Road that is setting with public water and public sewer in front of us that we would like to work on developing for potential housing development. Also, library improvements or other items. We have a few years to help put these items into capital improvement plans and develop how we proceed with those. The additional revenue helps give the Board of Supervisors the opportunity to keep local real estates and personal property taxes low for the benefits of all citizens. And obviously, I'll just state that, as additional information comes available and as future updates come out, we will be sharing those on our website and social media sites. So we are excited about this project. It has been years of preparation in water and sewer, AEP with their infrastructure, develop into a promising project for Wythe County. Mr. Chairman, that's all the information I have.
All right, Mr. Manley, and as David walks up here, just to hit on something that Mr. Barry said, 8 years ago, when I got elected to serve on this board, I knew that lot was built and or marketed for a data center. And David, I don't want to throw your age out, but you've been around a little bit longer than I have. So how long's this been in the works?
So when I had the honor of inheriting this position back in 2014, the groundwork had been laid for that going back prior to 2013, I think 2012 or 2011 in truth. We found a document today that was our first data center site certification that Appalachian Power helped produce with a consulting firm, and that was dated sometime in 2013. So prior to my assumption of economic development activity here, but it's been going around for, I'm going to say, close to 15 years.
And I guess, one of the concerns that we've had or we've heard is, this just got dumped on everybody and, we didn't engage the citizens. And you can explain why we're not allowed to talk about whether it's, there wasn't a community meeting when Gatorade came. And just explain how that come to fruition, I guess.
If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I produced some remarks that I can try to stick to, so I make sure I get the topics addressed that you raised here. I would say good evening, members of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Chairman, of course, county staff, and assembled fellow citizens. My name is David Manley. I'm Executive Director of the Joint Industrial Development Authority. We are the economic development organization for Wythe County, the town of Wytheville, and the town of Rural Retreat. I was asked here tonight to speak to those topics you mentioned, particularly some topics that have raised questions where this project is concerned, but also more broadly as it applies to economic development projects in general. When we pursue any major project, whether it's this Solus ARCS computing campus or even a typical manufacturing project, we follow a process that's common practice in economic development and a legal necessity in modern economic development. The process isn't about arbitrary secrecy. Instead, it's about protecting the community's ability to secure jobs. Economic development is globally competitive. We could never successfully compete for jobs and investment without confidentiality. Companies will not locate in a place where their proprietary plans are not respected. Revealing details prematurely gives competitors the data they need to undercut both us as a competing community, but also the business's competitors in taking away any competitive advantage. The decision to locate in a community is tied directly to a company's long-term growth plans and its need to maintain an edge. The specifics of companies' capital investment plans, proprietary processes, and operational timelines are highly valuable, confidential business secrets. The business's success and viability demands this information be treated carefully. While we frequently operate under non-disclosure agreements and other promises not to disclose proprietary business information, we fully acknowledge the need to balance the public's interest by working extensively with the people's elected representatives and their appointed staff. The Board of Supervisors is the direct voice of the people, and they are constantly reviewing the viability of projects to ensure they truly serve the public good, and no decisions are made in a vacuum. As we prioritize targets and as prospects mature, we brief county leadership, usually in closed session as permitted by state law. Ultimately, it's our responsibility and ethical mandate to adhere to the letter and the spirit of the law. The law allows for confidentiality, but it also expects that confidentiality will be balanced with the public interest. It is in that spirit that tonight you're receiving specific facts about this project, on this site, in this community. This ensures the people of Wythe County and their elected representatives have all the details available as of now. In economic development, our goal is to bring the maximum benefit to Wythe County while maintaining the trust required to compete and win. Thank you all.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And I will say that now that the company has allowed us to talk about it, the CEO has said, from the beginning that he's open to having, a question answer session, town hall type meeting for citizens' concerns. Mr. Barry, I know you've talked to him about that, and I don't know what the
Yeah, we have
timeline.
discussed that, and we will work on a time frame for that.
And again, it'll be advertised. The big thing is that, the water capacity's there, the noise issue, there's covenants in it, in the progress part that allow the county to enforce, the infrastructure, and I've read the same thing that a lot of you've read. They plop these data centers out here, and AEP, has to build the infrastructure. The infrastructure's been there since before me and Miss Lawson's time on the board, and we're the two, I don't want to say oldest, longest serving people up here. So earlier when I said, it checked all the boxes of what I learned when I was trying to educate myself about data centers. With that being said, I think there's a bigger issue that everybody needs to realize is we control Progress Park. but we don't have zoning in this county. So until that's addressed, if you don't live in the town of Wytheville or town of Retreat, one of these could pop up as your neighbor. So, my hope is that you folks reach out to the other board members and say, we need some type of control. And it's not just data centers, it's solar farms. Because without that, there's not much we can do. And when I say we, I mean the board, because, I'll be gone in January, and Miss Lawson too, but it's coming. This is what I view as a good opportunity, and I know that some of you know, despite what we say, you're not going to like data centers. But, there's school projects. I want to see the Spiller Elementary addressed. I want to see Fort Chisholm High School and Middle School addressed. And this gives the revenue to address a lot of these issues. And hopefully, the future board will reduce tax rates on every citizen.
Yes, sir.
That's what I would do if I was still here. Now, with that being said, we're going to open citizens' time. I'm going to call you up, just like always. If you live in Wythe County, you'll have 3 minutes. And I understand if you're not comfortable speaking in front of a large group and you don't get everything said, if you've got written remarks, send them to Ms. Collins or send them to all the board. It's easier to send them to Ms. Collins. She'll send them to us. Or if you get home tonight and said, I run out of time, I didn't get to say this, send them to Ms. Collins. We want to hear what you have to say. Again, the clapping thing, that's for Miss Williams. I understand you're going to do the golf clap, because it really blows these speakers, and this thing is, you see how far my mic is, and y'all can hear me good. So anyway, so we'll start out with the first person, CC Coffee.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Terry for reaching out to me. This is something that really bothers me. But he was the only one who did take the time to call and try to explain to me what was going on after the fact. I'm the big transparency man, and also I'll start with that. I know now that you guys are under non-disclosure agreements, and that has no place in government, I feel like. Y'all's duty as elected officials is to represent the voice of the people who voted for you. And that's it, And that should be where it stops. There shouldn't be no backdoor deals, which is what this has been. Well, now we find out this has been going on for 13 years versus, the 12 months that we thought it was. Which, that brings us into trust. I've had 2 of you guys express to me that you all did not think this was a good idea. Yet, y'all's voting record shows you voted for it. I'm the type of person, whether right or wrong, if I believe in something, that's the way I'm going to stand for it. I'm not going to let somebody persuade my vote if it goes against what I believe. I believe that should be shown in y'all's voting record. If you don't want it or you didn't like it, even though maybe your vote may not have changed anything, you still should have voted the way you felt. Or, whenever you talk to someone like me, just be like, hey, I'm for it. It's fine. It's just about trust. Anybody with a history book knows you can't trust the government, though. I mean, I don't think that's any surprise, But moving on from that, this does sort of feel like another Apex deal where, hey, boys, it's here. Deal with it. I know that this wasn't your all's board at that time, but that's how a lot of you guys ended up here. That was a horrible mistake, and everybody there got gone. All right? But let's move on from that because I've only got 3 minutes. So as I expressed to Mr. Terry, my biggest fear is this is home. Wythe County is my home. I don't plan on leaving. This is where I've been my whole life. I've been blessed. The Lord has blessed me, and I'm able to pay my taxes on time or whatever. But not everybody's like that. We have people on fixed income who are paying for water that they may not even use. That could very well go up with this. along with electric rates, along with their taxes. Just wrote a $1,700 check last week for personal property taxes. You know, I want people to be able to live here affordably and stay here regardless. All right, 7 other counties in Virginia have rejected this, all of which do have zoning. 2 of them, though, with no action from the board, the citizens run them off, which that's something that we should learn as citizens. But we can't do nothing about it if we don't know. If you guys can't tell us, we don't know nothing about it. We can't do nothing about it. With that being said, guys, all the money we got is what we got. We can't just rob from our neighbor to pay for it. I hope that you guys will consider anything in the future to keep this stuff from happening. And that's my time. Thank you.
Mr. Dawson. All right, next person signed up is S. Bates.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I get nervous, so if I start stumbling, please bear with me. I felt enough concern to try to get more up to speed in just the last few days since I heard that this set of circumstances was unfolding. And among other things, I discovered that in just the last couple days, I believe, over 250 national leading environmental organizations have asked Congress for a moratorium on new data centers in order to sort out questions and concerns that are rapidly becoming an area of controversy all over the place. So as I tried to think through my feelings, I read a quote, and I would like to read it briefly because it sums up my concerns that I support the idea of a moratorium around. The rapid, largely unregulated rise of data centers to fuel the artificial intelligence and crypto frenzy is disrupting communities across the country and threatening America's economic, environmental, climate, and water security. That was in a letter penned by the Food and Water Watch, which is one of those 250 plus national environmental organizations. It makes sense to me. Can we take a moratorium time and let our community transparently talk with each other about what we feel the real impacts of this would be, and if there are ways to mitigate concerns? I like consensus. I like a community process that leaves me feeling included and not left out by a lack of transparency. And if I understand that this seemed like a great idea 15 years ago, 10 years ago, but we've been watching it unfold all across the state and really in much broader than Virginia. And this makes sense to me too, that a moratorium is a time to stop and reflect. So I'm asking for that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next person we got signed up says Danny G, and I only know one, Danny Gordon.
You know who it is, brother.
Your handwriting is about as bad as mine, Danny.
I just don't write the whole name, it saves me some energy. All right, Mr. Chair. First thing, I haven't heard nobody say, how many jobs is this now, gentlemen? How many jobs? You can count them on your 2 hands at the most. You know, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been following this disaster waiting to happen. I've read about it, listened to it on the TV, radio, newspaper, magazines. Since I retired, I got more time. And I discovered this is something that we would be totally wrong to court or accept. See, there's something that goes on in Richmond, some of you may not acknowledge, but
they push a lot of things to Wythe County and to other counties because nobody else wants them. If you look statewide, they've started numerous of these projects, and they were stopped in the bud, nipped in the bud, as you would say. We cannot afford to do this. Your electricity is going to go up like mine. Oh, it says in the brochure, and that's a nice, pretty piece of document. I admit that. It says electricity won't go up. It has everywhere else. So you go by what actually happens, not by what is pretty, and as my grandmother used to say, anything will lay still like a piece of paper and let you write on it. We cannot afford to have grandmas and grandpas like me do without electricity because they can't pay the bills. They can't pay them now, hardly. And according to the statewide, nationwide average, 30% increase in your electricity when you get a data center. 30%. That's astronomical. And they say, yeah, we'll pay all the charges. Anytime you increase electricity demand, you have to have more infrastructure. That's not paid by the guys in these data centers. That's paid by all of us over a period of time, divided and added to our bills. We pay for that. Water usage. When the water usage goes up, we're going to pay more to generate the water. This company's not going to pay it. We're going to pay it in our overall bills. So you're going to trade a couple jobs for the future of this county and to have an increase in our electric bills. Some of us will go cold if I live that long if this is put into effect. It needs to be stopped and stopped right now because this is ludicrous. Thank you.
All right, the next person we had signed up is Larry, and I don't know the last name. You did not check that you're a Wythe County citizen. Do you live in Wythe County, sir?
Absolutely.
What's your address, sir? I couldn't read.
135 Independence Drive,
Okay.
Austinville.
I apologize. I couldn't make it out, sir.
I'm sorry that I missed that.
Oh, you're fine. I just wanted to double check.
I don't normally make mistakes like that, but evidently I did. I don't know a whole lot about this project that's going on right now, so that's the reason I didn't sign up for that. But what I'd like to talk to you about is a little bit about the lead mine district. And I've come up here in the past and I've talked to you about the lead mines district. Probably the first time I come up here was probably about 14 or 15 years ago after I moved back here when I retired from the Army. And I come in and I talked to the board then about a couple of things, and we still haven't done anything on them. That's been 14 years or more. And I was up here also about 4 years ago, right after my Board of Supervisors took over, and I spoke with him about it. I haven't heard anything at all about that either. Over in Austinville, we have no sidewalks, we have no street lights, we have a park over there that could be beautiful, and if you go back and check, you'll see I've talked about this before. The children have nothing to do. There's no place to play. You got to forget about the school. The school is gone. People won't let their children go over there. We've had a couple of cave-ins, and it's just not going to happen. So we have a park over there that's Stephen F. Austin's Memorial Park. That would be a beautiful place to clean it up, put some picnic tables out there, a couple of shelters, some basketball goals, a softball. We don't have any of that in Austinville. None of that is in there in the lead mines district. And I presume, Mr. Burnett, that you're my supervisor.
I am.
And we have talked. And I have called you. I have called you, sir. And that's it. It stops. So I'm going to tell you right now, in the lead mines district, we need some help. How many people on this board right now, by raise of hands, can tell me where the Stephen F. Austin Memorial Park is at? You don't know, do you?
I can, but I don't think it's.
Well, it's over in Austinville.
Fair
It's a
question.
nice park. It's a nice park, and it could be a whole lot better. Needs a lot of work, okay? And let me tell you one other thing before I leave. I did a lot of traveling around in my military career. 16 foreign countries and all 50 states. Visited some of them. Where we are located at here in Wytheville is a prime opportunity to have things get done. But it takes people. It takes people that have the desire and the fortitude and the backbone to get it done. And I'm telling you right now, that takes a lot of experience, and if you don't have that experience, maybe it's time for you to move on.
All right, thank you, Larry. All right, next person we've got signed up is Joe of Cabbage. See Joe, there he is.
Howdy, everybody.
Hello.
I understand it's, we got two of you guys leaving soon. I think Ms. Lawson and Brian. I'd like to turn out, this is how every community meeting should be, this many people, every single time. But I'll bring up a couple things. One question is, can anybody name one city, town, or county who was pleased with the data center that is built there? From the people, not the companies, not the local government, the citizens of a county, city, or town who is happy with the data center. I couldn't find one. I even asked AI, the data center things that they're being built for, and AI says, no, data centers suck, like the whole thing. I want to bring up another point because, people, I got my tinfoil hat on and all, but I know the people who want the data centers the most are the World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, World Health Organization, all of them people who want to destroy our livelihood, that's who wants it. Think about, 10, 13 years ago, they had this data center plan. 5 years ago, we didn't even have AI on a Google search. So that long ago to have this whole data center plan, this didn't even exist then. So I don't know what that's about, but I don't know. Given the data center, you're giving power to the deep state. That's what's happening. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Joe. All right, next person we have signed up is Hannah Ainsworth. And before you start, can I just say something?
Okay.
I have not seen you since high school. I was Hannah's school resource officer
And soccer coach.
and soccer coach.
Yep.
You coach soccer?
And it was, they had nobody else. That is God's honest truth, but it is so good to see you.
And now Dr. Hannah Ainsworth.
Congratulations.
I apologize, but I swear, you look the same as you did in high school. And you say the same thing about me.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But I apologize, but it is, in the 8 years I've sat up here, this tickles me to death. Because I always wondered, she was so smart and very quiet in school. But boy, you put her on the soccer field, because Fort Chisholm had a co-ed team. And she would take the boys out and fight the boys. But anyway, I'll be quiet. It's good to see you.
I guess it means I need to attend more board meetings.
Apparently.
So I'm going to echo what others have already stated. There are serious concerns over the prospect of adding an artificial intelligence data center to our county. It's not speculation. We know that AI data centers use significant resources and cause significant strain on water and energy grids, and far more today than 10 years ago. So critically, these concerns go beyond the current proposal and towards what the future will bring. Across the country, we see data centers multiplying and gulping up land at alarming rates. In Georgia, what was once a 100-acre proposal is now sprawling across 600 acres. In Henrico County, We see phased expansion of the data center campuses, which are now coming with new diesel generator fields and major new impacts to nearby waterways. In Louisiana, they're building one the size of Manhattan. It's 99 acres proposed today, but what about next year, in 3 years? At what point is our region unrecognizable? Further, with major AI companies looking towards nuclear power, how does this decision set Southwest Virginia down a path of becoming another cog in a nuclear power grid? Trying to rename and rebrand this AI data center as an AI factory also feels deceitful. It's trying to invoke the idea that it's building and producing something of value, but it's not. It appears as a multi-story parasite devastating our land and depleting our resources. And for what? If these data centers were such great opportunities, companies wouldn't be hiding behind nondescript LLCs. They hide because they're hiding from accountability and because they know who the losers in this deal are, us. So I ask to consider no to an AI data center in Wythe County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next person we've got signed up is Andy Kegley, and I did not coach Andy in high school.
I remember speaking at your graduation in
95.
somewhere in there, yeah.
Your memory is a lot better than mine, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Andy Kegley, Rose Hill Road. Congratulations to Ms. Lawson and Mr. Vaught for your 2 terms here. I know it is an easy thing. I want to talk about the issue of trust because it's been raised by a couple of you all. As in, trust us, you elected us. You must have trusted us at the ballot box, so count on us to make the right decision for you, our voters. If it were that simple, we wouldn't be here tonight, would we? We wouldn't have a need for citizens' time or public hearings. I'm afraid, though, that by raising this matter of trust, you are hiding behind your own doubts of the viability and even veracity of the Soulless Arcs project. Think for a moment why any of us might have doubts about trusting elected officials. How many of you were present at the groundbreaking announcement for the Blue Star Nitrile Glove project? Where was the due diligence behind that how many $100 million project and the promises of 2,500 non-existent jobs that would lead us to believe any of you should be trusted? Another example. Board minutes from last January 28 show the presentation of a resolution by your staff in support of using Progress Park for siting a future data center. This matter wasn't publicized. It wasn't even on the agenda of that meeting. Had I known, I for sure would have been here then, speaking like I am now, in objection to any hint of welcoming a subsidized user of water and electricity to our locality. Trust, you say? 2,000 gallons of water a day usage? This feels like a botanical cherry proposition. If true, each of the other 668 data centers in Virginia would be clamoring for that engineering, as would the 5,500 nationwide. Have you had an engineer review that claim? Independent engineer. Land clearing is already underway, as I read on your social media pages, meaning the ground is broken before the first vote. Have you voted on this project? Is there a vote? My last question is, and it's already been answered, were you asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement with this developer? 30 years ago, NDAs didn't exist when I was on the board, or they weren't part of our doing business. Because if you did sign an NDA, what does that say about the developer not trusting you? Which in turn raises the question of, why should we trust you or the developer? And if you didn't sign an NDA, then you're unencumbered to share with us what you know tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. All right, next person we have signed up is Stacy Beamer.
About 31 years ago, they wanted to build a large prison here in Wythe County. My dad gathered 2 of his friends, packed an overnight bag, drove hours to the town to scope out what the prison would be like. He talked to the politicians, you guys. He toured the prison. He talked to the warden. He even talked to the guards. They visited the schools. He talked to the superintendent to see the effect of this prison. But most important, he stopped at a local diner and he spent time with the citizens, major time talking to the citizens about the effect the prison had on their community. My question to you guys is, did you just see dollar signs? Did you go visit? It's my understanding there is a data center pretty close to here. Did any of you go visit? Did you talk to the citizens? Did you talk to the politicians? Did you make that trip because you cared about your county? You know, I taught for 35 years and I never thought I would be standing up here talking to you guys. My dad was big in politics. I'm not. When I retired from the school system, I left the Board of Supervisors. I left the retirement meeting and looked at the school board members. And you know what I said? I said, take care of the kids. This is about the kids. Take care of the kids. So what I'm leaving you with tonight is take care of the citizens. I have 2 grown children that live here and a grandbaby on the way. And just like my dad, Dick Philippi, I'm worried about their future. I'm worried about the amount of land that's being taken in this county for various things. I'm worried about our natural resources. Take care of the citizens. It's not about the dollar sign. Amen. And a spiller was supposed to be done years ago. And you know, even after updates of internet, that teachers have to walk to the front door to get service to make a phone call for a doctor's appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Langley. All right, the next person we've got signed up is Andrew Russell.
Good evening. The market logic that has turned Northern Virginia from the magical deep woods and neighborhoods of my childhood has fully played out to its final form and is looking for a new host. Data centers now loom over what were one time charming communities, serving them now only as monuments to what trillions of dollars can do to communities with only hundreds of dollars to oppose it. Monuments to what years of lobbying and strategizing can do when common folk only have days to respond. Monuments to what cheap promises can do to what is worth more than we can express. Small trails and forests my family used to spend time near have been thoroughly carved up for skyscrapers turned sideways, impossible to circumnavigate without being corralled in by 15-foot security fence, and more surveillance infrastructure than any free American should tolerate. This is our future if we allow this. I have seen it gobbled up Loudoun County, and it pains me so much that I cannot go back. Now, as Nova becomes fully saturated, big tech will ooze south to us. This penchant for large companies to hoover up resources has, in our lifetime, marched east from the mines of Appalachia, leaving good people jobless when the seams pinched out with water they can't drink and land they can't farm. We're getting sized up to be big tech's newest colony. The newest cheap land, cheap power, and fast data to be used up until we're not useful anymore. Through the miracle of fiber optics, which last year had been something we all celebrated, we got fast communication services we desperately need. It seems this has turned us into the next target for where tech's trillions can be summoned and directed with laser focus. Big tech and the engine that drives it has no brake pedal. It has no discretion for where it should be applied and where its infrastructure sited. What we see as beautiful farmland, whose owners we can name back centuries, is seen only for the dollars the property can yield, with zero appetite for acknowledging what legacy we may want to cultivate here. If Nova is any example, what is one data center today will be 10 next year. We've seen what big tech delivers us, an eroded shared experience as Americans with inflamed and monetized divisions while doing little to help us solve them. Our children and grandchildren for generations will be left with this legacy. Let's give them an orchard instead of chopping down our apple trees for firewood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. All right, the next person we have signed up is Michael Jackson.
How's it going, guys? Good. I walked in tonight knowing I was going to be the most unpopular person in the room. I saw all the social media posts claiming 100,000 gallons of water a day, 2,000, right? Electric, we're going to have to upgrade the infrastructure. We've already made that investment. The question is, are we going to throw it away? So I came tonight to speak in favor of this, at least hesitantly, because I still have questions myself. But overall, I think a lot of the hype on social media was misinformation, if I'm not wrong. And my whole life I've seen, or I've heard the older group say, you know, I don't understand why the kids have to move away to find a better job. But we oppose jobs like this. We only want forklift jobs or working on a production line or things like that. So, I'm not a public speaker, I apologize. But, yeah, I came out to speak in favor of it and probably be the only person in the room who will. And that's really all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. All right, the next person we've got signed up is, and I apologize, my contacts are getting dry, Miranda Edwards, and I apologize, is that correct? Okay. I was gonna blame it on my contacts, not your handwriting.
It's okay. Good evening. My name is Miranda Edwards. I have an extensive educational background in public health with a focus on global environmental health. I'm immensely concerned with the data center investment in Progress Park. The addition of a data center to Wythe County appears to focus more on capital gain and tax breaks, rather than the depletion of natural resources, such as land and water, the increase of energy consumption, and the degradation of local population health. According to Lincoln Institute, data centers are contributing towards individuals nationwide seeing their electric bills increase at twice the rate of standard inflation within the last year. The costs associated with running data centers are put onto the electric companies in the service area through charges added to their utility bills. Yes, the tax revenues of a new data center will be beneficial, but the entire electric service area becomes responsible for the financial burden of the infrastructure. While inflation is already an issue that impacts many in this area, how does this one-time break measure against the long-term costs to the community? Data centers are also resource depleting. The same article also mentions a mid-sized data center consumes as much water as a small town, while larger ones require up to 5 million gallons of water every day, as much as a city of 50,000 people. For comparison, Wytheville has a population of roughly 8,200 individuals. This water, once used for data centers, is not renewable. Robert Knoll, the founder and chief executive of Solis, said, and I quote, "As we build this next generation facility, we are committed to doing so with deep respect to the land, its natural resources, and the long-term presentation of what makes this region special. This is vague and undefined. Taking into consideration the scientific articles I mentioned, what is Solis' plan to protect our water supply, which is already depleting? Public health needs to be considered in addition of the data center to our community as well. A National Library of Medicine article reports fossil-fueled power plants and diesel backup generators that power data centers emit hazardous pollutants such as nitrogen oxides and fine particulate matter, increasing rates of respiratory diseases, cardiovascular conditions, and elevating cancer risk in nearby communities. A recent model indicates that the U.S. data centers in 2030 could contribute to nearly 1,300 deaths annually, resulting in a public health burden of more than $20 billion. What precautions have been taken to ensure that our community is being protected from this inevitability? There are many unanswered questions surrounding the addition of this unwanted data center. This community is special to those of us who live here. We're hunters, farmers, small business owners, and families. We are your community. Has Solis looked past its own interests to see the impact on the people who call this place home? Are there any safeguards addressing the protection of wildlife, the increased cancer rates, respiratory disease, air pollution, and noise pollution? I'll leave you with, we can live without AI, but we cannot live without water. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next person we have signed up is Sarah Robertson and Blake Caldwell. Okay. I could tell you signed up because it was really nice handwriting.
Yeah, his is unreadable. But I'll also be doing the speaking today, but we are together as a couple here, so he's standing with me.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are relatively new to the area, but we came here to the Wythe County area because it checked all of our boxes for a good, healthy rural location for our family, our livelihood, and our livestock. And for that reason, we're invested deeply in the continued success and safety and health of this region. As many previous citizens have already mentioned, no one can name a single place that has been happy with the data center that was built in their region. And as others mentioned, the very glossy sheet that we were allowed to pick up before makes some very encouraging and reassuring promises to many of the addresses that were brought up today. But this stands quite in opposition to a lot of the independent published data, some of which was mentioned by the previous speaker, about many of these concerns. Now, my husband and I, we're both scientific researchers with terminal degrees in our field, but I don't think it takes a PhD to understand that real independent data is the most reliable way to assess the truth of these claims. However, none has been forthcoming. There have been no data sets talking about how 20,000 gallons will be achieved as opposed to some of the larger numbers that have been presented today, how some of the volume and electricity is going to be reduced and compared to what is shown for every single other data center that we have heard about today. And so I would like to know where the independent data that shows the truth of these claims can be found, and what the board plans to do should these claims not hold up to be true. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that is all the citizens I've got signed up to speak, so I will close citizens' time. And if you don't take a recess? So, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome. If not, we understand, but the water's worked on several of us, so we'll be in recess. All right, I will call us back to order and on the record. The next item on our agenda is the payment of invoices. Each board member has received a copy of the invoices that need to be paid, and I will entertain a motion to approve the invoices. So moved. Have a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Morgan. Is there any questions, discussion, or any invoice that any board member wants to pull out? Right, here and then we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So approved. All right, next thing is the minutes of our previous meeting from November the 25th, 2025. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes. So moved. Have a motion by Mr. Morgan, a second by Mr. Cook. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Moving on to old business, Mr. Bear, anything?
I do not have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hankins?
I would just mention, Mr. Chairman, that's not really a major business item, but at your last meeting, Ms. Shaver came and requested that we work with her to get a dog from the shelter. We were able to work with her. She was able to adopt the dog that she was looking to acquire. So happy ending for her and for the dog.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hankins. Move on to new business. We've got the sheriff's salary supplement policy. Mr. Bear, I believe that's you.
Yes, as you all are aware, the sheriff's office does have a supplement policy that provides additional pay to the deputies based upon their years of service, as shown. The sheriff has he requested in this year's budget, but no action was taken. We didn't have anything that came to it. But basically, he requested that this incentive be applied to experienced law enforcement officers that bring years of law enforcement experience as a deputy or state police to a position in Wythe County. I request that the board consider adoption of this policy to apply the tenure supplements to new employees with previous law enforcement experience.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve that policy. Have a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Smith. Is there any questions or discussion on that one?
Is this for next year or this year?
This year. Policy would go into effect immediately.
All right, does that lead to any more questions or discussion? All right, just for the record, I, of course, am conflicted since I work at the sheriff's office, but I do not receive this supplement, and I have not received that supplement since,
Implementation.
yeah, however, I don't even remember how long it goes. Anyway, does that lead to any questions or discussion? Right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Aye.
So approved. The next are Joint Public Service Authority FY '25 financial report. And we've all received that in our board package. Do we need to take any action to
Typically,
accept
board
that?
just accepts the report.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion to accept the JPSA financial report for FY '25. Have a motion by Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Ms. Lawson. Is there any questions or discussion on that one? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. All right, next we've got our draft 2026 rules of procedure. I believe that's for information only. Mr. Byer, do you have anything to add to that?
That is correct, and I do believe Ms. Collins has emailed a copy of those to Ms. Crockett.
Ms.
and Mr.
Crockett
Martin.
and
If you do not have that, we
Mr.
will
Mar-
make sure you get those, but these are to be adopted at the first meeting in January.
And I apologize for not recognizing Ms. Crockett and Mr. Martin earlier. And I know we had Delegate-elect Cornett was here earlier for the resolutions we presented to the deputies and Trooper Mullins, but unfortunately he had to leave because he double booked, triple booked, or so, but.
Why are we having a June meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Me and Miss Lawson have no clue. They're not really concerned about it. Actually, me and Miss Lawson voted for like 5 a.m.
We do that every year.
The June meeting, we typically move it to the last fiscal day of the, last day of the fiscal year. And we have it at 10 o'clock in the morning, because you fussed at me for having it at 9 o'clock in the morning. No, we have it during the day, because if any year-end transactions or actions need to take place, that gives our financial staff and everything an opportunity to do so. So that is why we move it to then. And so if y'all do not want to do that, if y'all want to do it on the fourth Tuesday as regular, you know, we can make those changes at the first meeting in January.
Or if there's a motion for Miss Lawson to set it for 6 a.m., I would second it.
I will not attend.
At least you're honest. All right, any other questions about that? All right, anything else under new business, Mr. Barry?
No, sir, no action items. I will just express appreciation to Superintendent Dr. Poole for providing refreshments to us tonight. So, other than that, no business.
All right, Mr. Hankins, you have anything for new business? No, sir. All right, we'll move on to board reports. We've got the Budget Committee. Mr. Smith.
Budget Committee met on December 1st, 2025, and made the following recommendations. Amend and appropriate the following funds. Item number A, $86,676 to account 1101-423-100, and $34,424 to account 5301-450-160 to finalize the amount owed to VRS from the employer's share of contributions.
Right, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or discussion on that recommendation? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Approving $20,000 for the Rural Retreat Lake Campground office renovations.
All right, again, coming from committee, we don't need a second. Any questions or discussion on that? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
Aye. So approved.
Approving $381,000 for the purchase of a new ambulance.
Any questions or discussion on that one?
We will comment on that one, that we are looking at going to gas ambulances, and there's a 12-month period on that. So instead of waiting until the budget for next year and putting in the budget next year and then not issuing a purchase order until July of next year, going ahead and getting in line with it. So that's the reason why they made an appropriation for this year for the new ambulance.
All right, any other discussion?
Is that the full amount? Or I seen there was 381, then there were some $30,000 charges.
That is the full amount. We're hoping we can reduce it some from there. That includes the cost of the load system and the stretcher. The truck by itself was, I think, $303,000, $304,000, somewhere in that range. So this is everything it would require to get it up and running.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hankins, just, and I know we talked about this in Budget Committee, but talking about revenue and stuff earlier, 10 years ago, what a new ambulance, or I know we got Greg and Chuck and all of them, but
10 years ago, maybe 150 to 170 with the load system.
Yeah, we used to get some 80-20 grants where we would be, putting $120,000, $30,000, $40,000 into ambulance, or getting grants for $120,000, $30,000. We were putting $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 into it. I mean, it's amazing the increase in the cost.
We will apply for grant funding for this ambulance. It's less likely that we'll get grant funding going forward, but we'll certainly make the ask.
well, I remember 8 years ago and telling Mr. Bear that it's just a rule of life. If it had lights and sirens on it, it was going to be expensive. But that's not what I meant, Stephen. I didn't mean that expensive. All right. Does anybody else have anything? All right. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Item number 2, authorizing the EMS to implement a policy change for EMS employees who advance their certifications within the budget year.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or discussion on that recommendation?
This would allow us to, say we have someone who comes in as an EMT basic, an EMTB, we hire them in and they start taking classes, and within the budget year, they advance to an EMT A would be the next certification. So we're trying to reward them for getting higher qualifications, being able to provide better service. We have an education coordinator who can help us manage that, but we're still early in our processes, so we wanted to make sure that we could reward those folks who were trying to advance their careers now. If we don't find a way to pay those folks as they advance, odds are they're going to go somewhere that is willing to pay them for their certifications, and we don't want to lose good people. We've got a lot of good people in emergency services that we've come to depend on.
And we're actually kind of odd in the EMS world, and Greg or Chuck can chime in, but we're paramedic heavy, which in EMS world, paramedics the highest you can get. I assume that's not changed, and a lot of counties and agencies struggle to get paramedics, but we got a lot of paramedics, which is depending on which side of the 911 call you're on is a good thing.
Yeah, and I think adding to that, Mr. Chairman, if we don't allow them to progress in the pay scale, there's a risk of losing them to other counties.
I'm not against it, I just didn't know what it was.
All right, does anybody else have anything?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Matt and Mr. Mayor, my son is getting ready to move forward in that program to go from EMTB to A. Am I conflicted out since it's a direct benefit to my son?
It's a policy that applies to all of the employees. So I believe my interpretation would be, and we don't have our attorney here this evening, but my interpretation would be that no, you're not conflicted because your son doesn't live with you.
Right.
Even though there would be a benefit, this would apply to all employees generally.
Okay. Thank you,
And
sir.
and as somebody that's very educated on it, it does not.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, with that being said, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Authorizing a Rural Retreat Lake Pool daily fee to be increased to $5 per person for the 2026 season.
All right. Any questions on that recommendation?
What was that rate before?
It's $4 per person now. There's also, we recommended no changes to the camping rates for this year. So this would be the only change for Retreat Lake.
And Mr. Bear can tell you how long it's been $4.
Long time. I like asking questions sometimes.
It's been a long time. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. Anything else from the Budget
That's
Committee?
all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll move on to Board of Supervisors time. We'll start with you, Mr. Burnett.
I have nothing at this time.
All right, Ms. Lawson.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cook.
I have nothing at this time.
I got a funny feeling that ain't gonna keep on. Mr. Smith.
I've got one item that was just brought to my attention, Mr. Chairman, right as the lady just has stepped out, I think. But, Mr. Byer, can we have code enforcement check 1178 Center Mine Road? Apparently there's no running water or septics on this, and there's people living there. So can we make sure that everything's okay there?
1178 Sanders Mine Road. Okay.
And with that, that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Morgan.
I have nothing at this time.
All right, Mr. Terry.
Nothing at this time, sir.
All right, I just got a couple of things because I'm gearing up for this last meeting. And Mr. Manley, if you'd come up, because I got a question for you. And it was mentioned earlier tonight about the Blue Star project. And I've said it multiple times in here, and I just want it on the record. Wythe County done what we said we would do. The Commonwealth of Virginia said what she said she would do. And the federal government has failed that project. There was money when Trump was president. There was no money when Biden was president. Trump's back in the office. We still ain't seen money. So for the people on social media that are wanting to throw barbs that was some farce that we sold on the public is absolutely not the truth. And I just want you to reaffirm where we're at, not only as a county, but a JIDA. Sure. And my blood pressure will go up 30 points thinking about how the federal government has let this county down. But unfortunately, that's where we're at.
I would say that's a widely shared sentiment. I would say I'm terribly disappointed in how it's turned out so far. Even to the extent that the company kept its promise to finish phase one when it said it was going to at the end of May, I think of 23, and that was to enable theoretically additional funding to make itself available. That did not happen, as you've clearly stated. While there, I think, is still hope, I think that there is disappointment shared by a lot of folks that this did not go the way that anybody anticipated it would, or the way that our partners indicated that it would go to us.
And there was mention by Mr. Kegley about the cherry juice project. Early on, sitting on this board, I had concerns. Miss Lawson had concerns about that project, but we were in the minority. Mr. Manley had concerns. Mr. Manley, don't get a vote. When the board flipped, that project was shut down, and every dollar that was owed to Wythe County was paid back to Wythe County.
Absolutely, all the, everybody was made whole in that situation, as far as I'm concerned.
But I just wanted to get that on the record because, you know, Mr. Kegley wasn't wrong. But the board flipped and the situation was rectified.
The only thing, if you'd let me in closing say, sometimes the forces that we're dealing with are much larger than we can control, unfortunately, at this level. While we would like to be able to drive some of this decision-making, it's made at other levels that we have minimal say in. But nobody's more disappointed when these things don't work out than I know y'all are and we are as in economic development.
Well, and the thing about it, and I absolutely don't mean to put you on the spot, Mr. Manley, but none of us are perfect. I've made mistakes over the past 8 years, but I can't be blamed for something that I had no part in. So, with that being said, is there anything else to come before the board, Mr. Barry?
No, sir, I do not have anything else.
Mr. Hankins?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Collins? No, sir, thank you. Any board member?
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Manley. I should have done it during my supervisor time, but I know you have been working extremely hard for a long time, but especially the last few days, so I appreciate everything.
With nothing else to come before the board, me and Miss Lawson will happily see y'all on December the 23rd for
One more
our
time.
last meeting. And we'll be adjourned.